Hi guys, today we'll be learning about scientific notation. And scientific notation is just a shorthand way of writing out really big or really small numbers. Now the main rule when you're writing out in scientific notation is you want to have one non-zero number. That means it cannot be zero to the left of the decimal. This is confusing, but scientific notation gets pretty easy once you learn how to apply it. So let's look at this. 342 million. It's a really big number. Do you want to write all that out? No, you don't. So in scientific notation, you're trying to move the decimal place to a new place. So the rule says you're trying to move the decimal place so it has only one non-zero number to the left of the decimal. So look at here. Where do you want to move? Do you want to move it here? Well, no, because you only want one non-zero number to the left, and there are three non-zero numbers. What about here? Once again, you do not want to move the decimal point between 4 and 2, because then there are still 3 and 4 to the left. You want to move it to 3.42, because then there's only one non-zero number, 3, to the left of the decimal. So you'll change this number into 3.42. But you're not done yet, because this is 342 million. So you moved it to 3.42, right? And how many times did you move the decimal point over from the original? Well, check. You moved it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times. Since you moved the decimal place 8 times, you will go 3.42 times 10 to the 8th power, which means you moved the decimal point that many times over. Now that's a big number. What about a small number? 0.0023. The same rule applies. You want one non-zero number to the left. So where do you want to move it? Do you want to move it here? Well, no, because there are no non-zero numbers. Do you want to move it here, between 2 and 3? Yes, because there's only one non-zero number after the decimal point if you put it here, which is 2. So to change it to 2.3. Now remember how over here we did times 10 to the 8th? Well, over here you're going to look, how many times did you move the decimal point over? 1, 2, 3, 4. You moved the decimal point 4 times over. But if you can see, this is a small number and this is a big number. Whenever you have a really, really small number, like not like under the number 1, instead of times 10 to the positive something, you're going to times it to a negative power. And you're going to times it to -4 because you moved it 4 times over. That's the rule. If you see a decimal that asks you to put in scientific notation, but the number by itself is less than 1, like 0.00023, then what you want to do is multiply it by 10 to the negative power, as opposed to if the number is greater than 1, like 42.3, you want to move it to a positive power. Speaking of which, let's talk about 42.3. It's asking you to put it into scientific notation. So here, it looks like scientific notation, but it's not, because there are 2 non-zero numbers to the left of the decimal, 4 and 2. So now you want to change that to 4.23. 4.23 times, how many times did you move it from 4.23? You moved it once, so times 10 to the 1. And it's greater than 1, so you will multiply it by a positive power.